$44,000. That's what one pair of Air Jordan 4s sold for at Sotheby's. Ounce for ounce, more valuable than gold. The raw materials cost almost nothing. Leather, rubber, thread. Only 72 pairs were ever produced, and the machinery that turned a basketball shoe into a tradable asset began with a single design decision in 1989. Nike designer Tinker Hatfield did not set out to build an alternative asset class. He was trying to keep Michael Jordan from leaving the brand. To do that, he needed a shoe so distinct that it would instantly pop on television screens and street corners. In the spring of 1989, the Air Jordan 4 debuted. Hatfield stripped away the luxury leather of the previous model and introduced Durabuck, a lightweight synthetic material built for on-court abuse. But the true breakthrough lay in the silhouette's aggressive, almost industrial geometry. Hatfield added molded mesh panels to the sides for breathability, giving the shoe a raw, utilitarian look. He installed plastic wing-shaped eyelet covers, mirroring the flaps of a fighter jet, which allowed players to customize their lacing patterns. And beneath it all sat the signature visible air unit in the heel, a literal window into the shoe's technology. These choices were highly functional, but they had an unintended side effect. They created an unmistakable visual signature. Before a shoe can become a status symbol, it must be recognizable from 30 feet away. Long before anyone speculated on its resale value, the Jordan 4's design language made it impossible to forget. In February 1989, Michael Jordan stepped onto the court at the NBA All-Star Game in Houston, wearing the black and red Air Jordan 4. It was a global debut, but the real alchemy occurred 3 months later in Cleveland. With 3 seconds left in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, Jordan drove right, elevated over Craig Alo, and froze in mid-air to drain the series-winning jumper. The shot became one of the most repeated moments in sports history. Every broadcast highlight put those black sneakers with the crimson hits directly in the frame, cementing them as the footwear of a cold-blooded winner. Nike immediately capitalized on this on-court mythology, constructing an aggressive advertising campaign. They partnered with filmmaker Spike Lee, who brought his cinematic style and his fictional character Mars Blackman to national television. The fast-talking Can't commercials ran constantly on MTV, posing a single addictive question: can you beat the shoe? This campaign did something far more profitable than selling basketball gear. It linked the product directly to hip-hop, cinema, and urban youth fashion. By pairing Jordan's rising dominance with street-level art, Nike established a premium on the shoe that went far beyond sport, creating the emotional foundation for a future financial asset. In 2005, the line between performance footwear and alternative asset blurred when Jordan Brand partnered with Los Angeles boutique Undefeated. Nike bypassed retail shelves entirely, distributing a tiny run of 72 olive nubuck pairs through a local in-store raffle and private networks. Inspired by the aesthetic of an MA1 flight jacket, this release became an instant legend among collectors. This extreme scarcity is not accidental. It is the deliberate engine of a highly structured market that sorts Jordan 4s into a strict hierarchy of value. At the bottom of this pyramid sit standard mass-produced retros. Above them are dead-stock originals preserved since 1989. Then come ultra-limited boutique collaborations, followed by unreleased factory samples and player exclusives. At the absolute peak sit authenticated, game-worn artifacts. By transforming a basketball sneaker into a closed-supply collectible, this hierarchy dictates that price is no longer determined by materials or on-court utility, but by sheer rarity and historical meaning. A leather and nubuck sneaker only commands 5 figures if the buyer has absolute certainty. This is where a paper trail transforms rarity into realized wealth. When Canadian investor Miles Nadal dropped $850,000 at Sotheby's for a historic sneaker collection, highlighted by the elusive M&M Carhartt Jordan 4. He chose this specific silhouette because of its perfect convergence of hip-hop history and extreme scarcity. But Nadal didn't buy on faith. What convinced him to pay such a premium was an unbroken chain of custody, backed by a signed certificate of authenticity and factory-matched style identifier tags. For high-end collectors, this physical paperwork is what raises a fragile piece of footwear into a bankable, investment-grade asset. Without these verified documents, even the rarest $44,000 Grail instantly loses 80% of its value, turning a blue-chip portfolio piece back into a worthless replica. The market converts this verified demand into cold, hard cash through a highly fragmented financial ecosystem. A single Air Jordan 4 does not have one fixed price. Its value shifts depending on where it is traded. On StockX and GOAT, trading operates like a high-speed stock market. StockX uses a transparent bid-ask order book where prices update instantly, charging sellers up to 12% in fees. GOAT offers lower seller fees starting at 9.5%, capturing the massive market for used pairs. On these platforms, transaction speed and automated verification create instant liquidity. Contrast this with eBay, which charges an 8% fee but relies on slower peer-to-peer shipping. For ultra-rare assets, the pricing ceiling explodes. When celebrity influence meets extreme scarcity, traditional retail metrics disappear. This is how the 2017 M&M Encore Jordan 4 reached a staggering $24,200 on the secondary market. According to Bram Wachter, head of collectibles at Sotheby's, this premium is entirely about trust. Wachter notes that a professional, independent authenticity guarantee reduces risk for buyers, allowing verified pairs to command a 20 to 30% price premium over unverified ones. At the highest level, auction houses capture this premium by wrapping physical assets in legal guarantees, turning sneakers into bankable wealth. But this bankable wealth can vanish overnight with a single decision at Nike headquarters. In August 2025, Nike broke the golden rule of sneaker investing by announcing a global restock of the undefeated Air Jordan 4 on the SNKRS app. For 2 decades, the original 2005 pair remained a mythic 72-pair holy grail, commanding over $40,000 at auction. Suddenly, Nike offered the exact same aesthetic for a retail price of just $230. The market reaction was immediate and violent. As soon as exclusive access hit accounts, the illusion of absolute scarcity evaporated. Sellers looking for an instant flip flooded GOAT and StockX, triggering a devastating supply shock. Secondary prices collapsed, with some pairs plummeting to under $500. It proved a brutal lesson. In this volatile market, a sneaker's value is never guaranteed, even when the silhouette is historically important. Even when supply remains stable, the market's foundation is under siege. Automated bots hijack digital draws, routing traffic through complex proxy networks to corner limited allocations before human buyers can react. This access manipulation feeds a massive parallel threat: high-grade counterfeits. When a single model commands thousands of dollars, replica factories mimic the exact production tolerances of the original runs. Protecting this asset class requires hyper-specific checks. Verifying an authentic Jordan 4 means cross-referencing factory SKU codes with exact box label barcodes. Authenticators must inspect the tongue tag's embossed logo, count the wing eyelet stitching, and analyze the aging density of the midsole foam. If the tread patterns on the rubber sole mold show even a millimeter of variance, buyer trust collapses, and the entire speculative market falls with it instantly. Today, the line between consumer goods and financial assets has vanished. The Jordan 4 proves that wealth is not just mined from the earth, it is manufactured by culture. When hype dictates price, Rubber and leather become stronger than gold. What is your ultimate grail? Let us know in the comments.